And welcome to the Laughing Monkey Music Show. Today I'm Callum Kerr. How are you?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. It's a beautiful day here in Nashville. Got some family in town and some music coming out this week. It's all happening, man.
I'm excited. I gotta be honest with you, it's a little confusing here, the Scottish accent thing from Nashville.
Yeah. Yeah. I obviously get it all the time here, but my friends back home will remind me that I'm sounding more and more American every day. And it's not
I'm
until I
sorry.
get back to Scotland and I start speaking, it's like a switch. The Scottish comes back right away.
I think the Scottish accent, all the accents are awesome over here. It gives you like a little edge. I think everybody kind of likes that, having the
Yeah.
accent. You know,
Yeah, Scottish accent seems to travel well.
it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. That's what I found really interesting because you're an actor. I guess you modeled earlier. I mean, but you also ton of TV and acting and music. But
Mhm.
obviously, we're going to talk about you have an album or EP, extended play, coming out on 25th on Friday,
Yes,
Roots Under
sir.
Me. Let's talk about that first.
Cool,
And the
man.
country connection. Like for me, speaking in Scotland, you would think that it's not a huge American country music thing, but it seems like it was a thing for you and your family. Was your whole family into it, or like how'd that seek into you?
Yeah, we didn't get a lot of country music in Scotland when I was growing up. It's actually
I
different
wouldn't, yeah.
now. I think nowadays, you got so many people, Luke Combs and Morgan Wallen and all those guys can sell out huge arenas over in the UK, and it's totally blown up. But when I was growing up, it was, you maybe had friends in low places and Man, I Feel Like a Woman, and that was it. And so it's I didn't really know much about country music until I got a job in Texas when I was 17, and started listening to country then in Texas and immediately became obsessed. But then when I went home, my grandfather told me that he's a huge Willie Nelson fan, and it's just something that we'd never discussed when I was growing up. And he had all these LPs and vinyls of
Really?
Willie Nelson in his house. Yeah, and I was like, no way. So I guess it ran in the family. I wasn't aware of it until I'd already been to the States.
That's what I mean. Will Nelson, like I said, I'm not a huge modern country fan, but like Willie Nelson, like all the old stuff, I love. You know,
Yeah,
that the outlaw stuff.
yeah,
And I think you bridge it. I think that's the difference. Like sometimes it feels like more pop, and I think you hit it nose when Shania Twain came out. You had the same producers for Def Leppard and stuff, so everything kind of the lines a little blurred a little bit, and then it almost feels
yeah.
like country got kind of almost like the next level for people that listened to rock in the '80s. It was like the next step for you as you become an adult to listen to pop country. Um, I kind of feel like your EP kind of harkens back and has a little old school feel to it, but it still feels modern. I feel like you kind of dip into a little bit. I think that's what I enjoyed about it. You know?
Oh, thanks, man. Yeah, well, it was kind of cool. I grew up listening to rock music, and I wanted to have some elements of rock in the EP, and it was cool because it was produced by Dan and David Huff, who are made their name in Nashville for producing country music, but those guys were in a rock band called Giant back in the 90s.
Well,
Yeah.
where they are.
Record deals and tours and everything. And so they come from a rock background. So I was like, this is the perfect partnership because I can say, look, I'm making a country record, but I want the solos to be ringing out, and
Yeah.
I want the drums to be big. And they were like, that's right up our avenue, say no more. And they cut all the instrumental stuff in the studio, and it just sounded, even before it was mixed, it already sounded massive.
Yeah.
So I knew it was in the right hands from the start.
I think that's part of the feel that I enjoy about it because it doesn't feel like it's like every other country band to me. It feels like it
Mhm.
stands out but different, you know?
Yeah, and I think I don't blame the artists, but a lot of artists just now they try and make their sound like whatever the current trend is, and it's like,
Mhm.
well, that's already popular, but it's popular because of the guys that made it popular. So if
Yes.
you're just going to end up sounding just like a ripped off version of something that's already big. And so yeah, I wanted to, try and stick to the rules, if you will, like the classic country stuff, but kind of try and form my own sound. And yeah, I got to take my hats off to the Huffs. Those guys, they really nailed it, I think.
It sounds good. You have a great voice and you're a good songwriter.
No,
You definitely have that whole Nashville. There's something about it where you write a song and it can be catchy or rhymey, but you gotta do it just right, or it becomes so cheesy and awful. Like there's that fine line,
yeah,
and it's hard. Like you joke about like writing all the easy songs were done. The Beatles did it. It's hard to write something easy and good.
yeah. Yeah, well, it's like there's a difference between something being simple and then a simple thing being done or executed really well. And I
Mhm.
think, I always try and lean into that because, you also get those artists who you can only enjoy them if you know, music theory to the 10th degree. And
Right,
they're so good at it that they make it too complex for the average listener to really
right.
enjoy. And you're right, that's what I always loved about country music is that you got a lot of simple concepts and three chords and the truth, but when it's done right, it's just to me it's just so enjoyable. And again, I feel like I'm nowhere near some of the guys in this town in terms of writing and stuff like that. But they call it a 10-year town for a reason, and I'm about 3 years in, and it feels just like a craft that I'm trying to learn. It's like a martial art.
Yeah.
I'm trying to get my black belt at writing one day.
Well, you kind of got a leg up coming in though too, 'cause some people take a little longer, but you feel like you have it down. And I think coming into the EP, I was like, I didn't know because I knew one or two songs I'd heard, and I get an EP. I'm like, oh, I hope this not just like filler, because some songs become the same, and because there are the same concept, there's a handful of concepts in each type of genre of music. It can be so beat down, and I was like, oh, can you put a new twist on it? Can you make it fun? Can you? And these songs do them justice, you know.
Oh, well,
You know,
thanks, man. I appreciate
we'll
it.
talk in 3 albums and see if you can still do it.
Yeah, yeah, that's the next challenge. Well, it's funny because we wrote, I either wrote or recorded these songs. I mean, over a year ago, we decided which ones were going to be in the EP, and then we cut the vocals. I mean, 9 months ago, and then we start marketing it 6 months ago. So I've been sitting on these songs for a while, but in the meantime, we just keep writing more songs, and it's just hopefully by the next album, we got another 6 or 12 that we love, and that's it. Wash, rinse, repeat. You can't sit on one too
Yeah.
long. It's like oh, I think we wrote a great song. Well, can we do it again tomorrow? Let's see.
You feel like a fighter, or I mean, in a lot of artists, be like, I wrote my greatest album, and of course you do, because you don't want to be like you just spend a lot of time writing a crappy album and then go release it, you know. But the other thing is like a lot of artists are always like, by the time we get to this point, yeah, they're like, oh, the album's I'm already done with it. I haven't even listened to it. Now I got to do the press for it and say the same thing 20 times again every day. And I just want to go work on my new music. I just, this is the part where you're talking about something you've already done. You know,
Yeah.
kind of slows you down a little bit because not so much in the early days, but when once you're pumping it out. Now, I think that's a strength of yours. That sound. I'm sorry. I mean, my thought is, leading into that old country western sound with that big rock, old country western singing and music that you write, that style with that big rock sound. I think
Yeah.
that's you. I think that's you. You know.
Yeah, well, thanks, man. We're just gonna keep honing it in and just try and get better each time. But yeah, you're right. And one of the best bits of advice that I heard, I can't remember which artist it was. I'll have to find out. But they were saying they kind of approach it like a season, if you're playing for a sports team. So like the
Mhm.
summer you're preparing, so that might be like you're writing your album and you're
Okay. Yeah.
right. And then it's release and then it's go time. You're putting everything, all of your work in during the season, and that might be your touring or your press and your radio tours and stuff, and you're just putting in the work, and then you might get a couple months where you can go, oh right, well that was good. We won some, we lost some, and then you just go back and do it again the next season, and it's like, right, well let's get down to. And so it's nice when you chop it up like that, because otherwise you're right, everything can just blend together, and it can be just
Yeah. I don't know how artists can be talking like all day long doing these. I'd be like third one in. I'd just be making stuff up. I would be saying the most ludicrous, preposterous things ever to people. And they'd be like, "What is wrong with him? Like, we can't talk to him anymore." Like, it would be like that because I'd be like, "I can't keep doing this." So
yeah,
I had
yeah.
thought, do you guys have the patience to keep doing it? Try to go a little different with these questions to keep it a little easier for you. Um, you know,
Yeah, no, I mean yeah, it depends. Obviously, I can tell that you're an enjoyer of music.
yeah,
You know what you're talking about, and it's a hobby as well as a profession. You know what I mean? It's whereas some people, if it's just a profession, um they just don't really care that much. It's just what they're supposed to do for a job. But when
right,
someone's passionate about it, it's a lot easier to do this kind of stuff.
yeah. I think, and with you, it's interesting because your age coming in at this is such an interesting time to be breaking because you're coming in with social media is kind of flattening out where they've been like it's like TikTok, YouTube, where we kind of fighting it out like which is going to platform. You have to be on every social media. You have to do this. And it's kind of like no, you don't. Like it's kind of like evening out a little bit more for you now. Because back in the day, you'd be like get the record contract, be on TV, get this and that. There's steps that all
Yeah.
went away, and then it was really weird for everybody, and everybody was struggling. And then it started getting into the media world, and everybody's trying whatever they could throw against the wall to stick. Feels like
Right.
it's like leveled down a little bit where you get smaller deals, you get the publishing, you have it put out, but you could also use your media for yourself, be more of a cottage industry, you know, turnkey thing, and then keep control of your stuff. So I think it's
Yeah.
a good time for young artists at your point now, you know.
Yeah, I think so, and that's really it. That's where the eyes are. Everyone's on their phone all the time, so it's you're fighting for people's attention, but it's the exact same as it would have been, like you said, when the Beatles were around and they were just playing bars, and it's like, well, the people are all going to bars, so let's go play in the bars and see if we can make enough noise that sounds good that people turn around and
Yeah,
oh, who are these guys? And it's just a new way of doing it. I mean, I love doing both. Social media can sometimes be a bit like, I don't know what the hell I'm supposed to post today, but you just try and be consistent with it. And then when you do get to play in front of a crowd, it's that's the real stuff
right.
right there. So yeah, just juggling it all, man.
The other thing is like with it, I mean, with your because you're also an actor, and we'll talk about that in a second. So you also have that same comfort in front of the camera. You've been
Hmm.
doing it for a while, so you kind of have a better feeling of who you are. Like sometimes a lot of musicians are kind of uncomfortable because I just want to play music.
Hmm.
Seeing yourself on screen, hearing yourself, doing it, how you look, it's not natural for a lot of people. They're more usually on stage performance and someone else is doing that part for them. But for you, so if you're doing social media, you kind of have an idea of what looks good. You know what I mean? You from
Hmm.
film and TV. I think that's probably an advantage you have for comfort. Do
Yeah,
you think it
and
helps you?
I love acting. It's been a huge part of my career, but it's so nice to be on camera and just getting to be yourself. I don't have lines to learn, or I
Yeah.
don't have to go through 2 hours of hair and makeup and costume to get into character. And it is nice to be just relaxed, and I can just be Cal as opposed to some character. So yeah, it's definitely helped. And the first time I ever acted, I was the exact same kind of awkward as probably most musicians are doing these kind of things.
Right.
So I think it just comes with reps, with practice, and then eventually you're like, all right, I can relax and just have a conversation, and it's just the same as it would be if there wasn't a camera there.
Still.
We see that in, you look at the Spotify demographics, and they might be different to the people that are following you on TikTok versus YouTube versus
Hmm.
Instagram, and then it's always interesting to see who comes to the shows as well. We did a show there on Monday night, and it was a pretty broad spectrum of people that came. All from 17-year-old dudes that were like, I'm in music as well. We wanted to come and see you. To women in their 60s and 70s that were like, I saw you on Facebook, and you're like, yeah, yeah, well, thanks for coming. It's the best. But yeah, it's always interesting. You got to let me know once it's all out. And
Yeah. So what's interesting is so like doing the acting and the music. I think it's easier now for an artist, but I remember like wasn't it like just like Rick Springfield like the only guy you felt like he was just like or the Partridge filming when we were growing up. I'm probably a little older than you, and they're like flying into gigs. It wasn't a normal thing for somebody to act and do music, and if you acted, it was hard to get credit. You know what I mean? As
mhm.
a serious musician, because well, he's just an actor in a soap opera, Rick Springfield.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
now social media and media has interacted so much. I don't think that's your world. Do you see that the same now, or is it different?
Yeah, I mean most of my following per se is from music. And so even though I've done acting for longer, um it's just from posting these videos online. So I think that's what you're saying is it's quite nice that on social media I can post music and people say, "Oh, I'm going to follow this guy because I like that song or whatever." They might not even know that I act as well.
Well, we'll talk about that in a minute because I
Pretty
didn't know
cool,
I didn't know much either. I because this was obviously for the music end. It reached out to me and I got interested in that's how I started. So I listened to music and then I get the list of. So yeah, you're young Everett. I looked down there because I don't. This is one thing I don't know off the top of my head is not music stuff.
Yeah.
You're
Yeah.
Netflix for Virgin River, and then but you're also going to be in season two. You're going to be in One Piece. I don't know
Yeah,
if they shot it.
we filmed it all. Yeah, we
Okay.
filmed it. Yeah, I think they said it's coming out 2026, but they didn't give a
Yeah.
date yet. Um, I have another screen here. Let me just double
Yeah.
check. One Piece. Oh my God, can't spell. One Piece live action season 2 release date. Here we go. Yeah, it just said sometime in 2026. So yeah, it'll be out. I mean, obviously, I'm hoping it's sooner, but if it's the end of the year, it's the end of the year.
Yeah.
They have such good post production, and they've got so
Right.
many. All these people have skills, magic skills and crazy powers and stuff. So I think it takes a lot of time in those
And
post. The people who are really into anime, they always talk about how much they think that's it's just so much better than other types of TV.
mhm.
And I can see it. I don't know what it is. I don't know what is in the production process over there in Japan, but they just seem to make these incredible shows that people just
Yeah.
love. And it's
That's what it is. This
right?
right here. If you become a big hit in season 2 in that community, you can do conventions for the rest of your life. You don't have to release an album. You can just do conventions and autographs
Yeah, yeah.
because you will have the loyalist thing and action figures.
It's a
Everyone wants an action figure, right?
It's a shame that I actually like music because otherwise, if I would just be like, yeah, sack that, I'll just go do
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You
Comic
just have, yeah,
Con.
you just yeah, that's a backup plan now. The conventions, that's what you want to focus on.
Actually, I have one in October in St. Louis. It's called GalaxyCon, and
Yeah.
it's a 3 day all weekend one. And the show's not even out yet, and they asked me to come and do that. So that's a good sign for sure.
Have you ever been to one?
Never, never once.
I went one with my kid a couple years ago, and it was a lot of fun. Not what
Yeah,
not my normal thing.
yeah.
And the
What
people
was
there,
what was it? Was it a Comic Con or like
yeah,
a
it was like a Comic Con, but it was not called that. It was over here
right?
in New England, and it was fantastic. And because everybody's so open to imagination, everyone's much more vulnerable and kinder, which
Oh,
just made it more beautiful. And as ugly as things are right now, it's gonna feel like night and day. It's like walking in on the sun on a hot day into the air conditioning because for the most part, being a convention, they might be kind of stressed out. But you know what I'm saying? But that kind of personality, that's the kind of people they are. It was much more, you know,
yeah. And
open-minded and
taking your kids there, that's what you want when you're taking your kids anywhere,
yeah,
just for
yeah. I mean,
and
he
then
was a
they
little
can
older,
relax and they can have fun and it's not too crazy. Yeah, I mean,
but
I
they made
can't
the
wait.
costumes and stuff, so it was it made it fun for them too. It was it was a good dad nerd day.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, I can't wait. I can't wait. I hope that I get a bit of a chance to walk around because I guess I'll have a stall or a table or
Yeah,
something set up. Uh, but I hope I get a chance to walk around and see some of the other people because I don't even know if there's going to be anyone else from One Piece or I don't know if there's going to be people that I might recognize from other shows there. So,
right.
but it'd be cool to experience it a bit as well as be part of it.
Well, now's your time because I think you're going to probably blow up. I mean, you're in a lot of good things. I mean, I don't think it's going to be much more quiet time for you to be out in public. I think, you know, you're in too many things. And your music's good. I think that it's just gonna, like I said, you have so much going on. When are you actually? So you're acting. Is it? Do you take your guitar with you, type of deal? Like to do that, and you're like writing for fun, or do you like? I have to take a break from my playing. And I ask this because a lot of people I know, a lot of musicians, always have their guitar every day they play, no
Mm.
matter what they do. Some put it down. I know some of the world's best guitar players. They're like, "Oh, I got a tour coming up. I mean, awesome shredding." And they'll be like, "I haven't played since my last tour. I don't even have calluses anymore." I'm like, "Oh, like, oh, like the stuff they play, and they're gonna be playing like in 3 months or 2 months or something." They go, "Yeah, I got to warm up." I'm like, "Oh,
Yeah, I have a guitar everywhere that I go. What I usually do is because they're so annoying to take through airports, and then if you
hmm
check them, they can break.
yeah,
Obviously you have to do it when you go on tour and stuff. But if I'm going for an acting job, I'll just buy like a $200 acoustic when I get
mm,
there, and then leave it with someone. So it's been quite cool. I've left guitars for one of the guys on a show I did called it was what show was it? Wheel of Time, and we filmed it in Prague.
okay,
One of the guys that worked in the hair department, he was there with his wife also worked on the show, so they brought their kid over, and he was at an international school there. So I left my guitar with them, and then in South Africa, I left it with one of my buddies that was there, and he was like, "I think I'm going to try and learn guitar." I was like, "Well, here you go. This is the best way to start is just have one in your hands." So, and it's good because it's not an expensive guitar. You just buy a cheap
no,
cheap one that you can fiddle with while you're there. and then let it go. So, um,
$200 you can still a decent guitar. I mean, when I bought my first acoustic, it was like $15 from Sears or something, and the action was like this
oh,
high, and it was steel strings. I didn't pick up guitar for like another 30 years. I was like, I don't like what people's fingers are. Am I just like, like a lizard? Like, why can't I? And then I realized that it's not all like that. I was like, oh, like what? you know,
that's funny.
yeah.
Yeah, that or even like Facebook Marketplace and stuff is you
Oh,
can
that's
get.
pretty good too. Yeah, I mean, the action was so high you could put a pack of cigarettes underneath the whole thing, just about like really, it was just
Yeah.
ridiculous. Um, I think with you play guitar all the time now and having it with you and traveling. I mean, I know some musicians what they also do is they travel. They leave guitars. They have a couple friends like in the U.S. if they're flying, and they have a couple guitars placed around at a family's house, member's house. So when they come into town, they grab it like different towns they're in. So if you go to Nashville, you would have that there. Beautiful place. You have a couple of locations.
Yeah, yeah, that's smart actually. I didn't ever think about that. I don't think I go anywhere enough right now consistently that I'd need to leave one there,
Hmm.
but that's good. I'm thinking ahead. Like I'm like, all right, if I do another show that's like going to do a few seasons somewhere, I could just leave a guitar.
Yeah, just leave a good guitar and have your friend. And you have one friend in that town that whatever town it's in. Pack it up, put it in the closet. He'll lodge it
Yeah,
for you. You
yeah,
know, there's a lot of room for somebody to help hook you up.
hell yeah, yeah, good idea. I'm going to steal
Yeah,
that.
it's not stealing it. I've heard it from many musicians. That's well because what happens is like a lot of rock bands nowadays because they can take the back. They don't need the back line. A lot of the gear can be in a suitcase, plug it into
Mhm.
whatever they got for the back line, and they can take the guitar. And usually it's horrifying to bring a good guitar, electric or acoustic on the airlines.
Mhm.
Um, so they'll have it like that, and they fly out to these shows, and it's usually a good gig. It's not that very expensive for them to fly out one guitar, one thing. They get paid, backline's there, they fly back out. That's kind of how a lot of the world is now for a lot of music shows, at least for like
Yeah,
some mid rock shows. So that's kind of what a lot of them do.
that's smart. Yeah, eventually, we're planning a little tour for the fall, and we'll be doing that. We'll be flying and getting minivans and stuff like that. But eventually, when we've got a big 18 wheeler that we can load with the stuff, then it's like, all right,
Yep.
this is easier. We just send it on its way and we meet it over there. But yeah, that's I'm looking forward to that. Doing a little tour. And but yeah, we're gonna be slumming it on flights and jumping in minivans for 10 hours at a time. And
So, like, what is it like? So coming in, obviously, there's a lot of people who've been more time in Nashville and haven't had as much success yet, or at this point. Was it hard for you to come in and be like, is that like, oh, another newcomer and somewhere else, Scotland? You know what I mean? Not coming into town, was it competitive?
it's definitely, you're kind of competing against everyone else. But I've never felt any kind of animosity. Maybe once or twice in small ways, but for the most part, everyone's been very welcoming, and it does not seem, it doesn't feel competitive. Everyone knows that everyone's looking for the next big song or the next hit, um, but everyone's here doing the same thing, and I think you definitely have that kind of southern hospitality style where it's like, well, come on in, man,
Well, it sounds like it's the place. I mean, every time I even do interviews to go down to Nashville, even rock bands, you know, to record, have a
hmm
writing session with. You know what I'm saying? It's always like that. So you imagine everybody down there's got to be like, where they're doing until they get the gig. You know what I mean? Every other job, unless you get that one guy who says, I'm only playing guitar until I can get this job running this restaurant. You get the opposite, right? I'm only
Yeah.
paying my bills with these gigs until I can get this job at
Yeah.
Shoney's or
Oh,
whatever, Waffle
yeah.
House.
My brother-in-law just moved to town, and he's got a degree in biology, and he works here at Vanderbilt, and he's got a great job, but he's a big guitar player. And I can just see him every day, just he's getting closer and closer to just quitting that job to become a guitar player. He's gonna I was like, well, you should, just go play some local gigs and just get a feel for it, part time, do it for free for a bit, since you've got your bills covered.
Go somewhere with no money in your pockets and stay there for a week with no money and get an idea what it's like to be a musician.
Yeah. Yeah. And then yeah, try and get people to pay you for playing the guitar.
And then see how it feels. And then it's not as much fun anymore. It's not as creative.
Yeah.
The hunger pains hurt. Um, how do you think you're going to tour now? Is it because of the like? Are you going to be between scheduling for like gigs and stuff? Because I know you're doing Virgin River probably more seasons. Is it shot in a way like your schedule, and then you'll play in your tour and you won't take anything else on? to work around it, or is it kind of weird?
Yeah, I think so. I think I'm gonna yeah, it is kind of that, you know, we just block out a month, 2 months or whatever, and then it's like, yep, I can't take anything on. Obviously, if something massive came in, you know, then we would have to reassess, maybe push the tour back. But it looks like this fall is, you know, the American film industry is kind of quiet just now. Um, and so, you know, and yeah, I've wanted to go on tour for a while now, and now that the opportunity is there, I'm like, all right, let's just get out there and do it. But
I definitely think you should not half-ass it. Run, whole ass it. You should really totally.
oh hell
Once you
yeah.
commit to the tour, you really got to kind of put the time in. Otherwise, if you're
Mm.
just doing bits and pieces, it's going to take you a long time to build up your audience.
Absolutely, yeah, we're planning on being out there. Apart from the weekend where we're in St. Louis for GalaxyCon, you know, we're planning on being
Right.
out there every weekend pretty much for the fall. And we'll see. You know, they were like, we'll start off just with Texas, and then you know those venues confirmed, and then you know Atlanta reached out, and North Carolina and Arkansas. So we're adding more and more, and I'm like, all right, let's just see, you know, see what we can do in all these places. Some might be
That's
amazing, some might be, you know, less. But we're just gonna, like you said, just go balls to the wall and just try, you know, try
Well,
to
I
take.
think that's usually the best way to, because then you get the loyal audience. You know what I mean? That sees you in small. I mean, and those are the fans, the ones if you talk to them on Facebook, if you enter the chats, the ones, the more active you are to them, that's
Mhm.
where the real loyalty comes from.
Big time, big time.
They become fans, kind of not friends, but kind of fans. It's kind of like that level of like it's not, you know, you're here and they're here.
Yeah,
You know,
totally.
it's like I make shoes for a living. That's my profession. I made some shoes for you. I'm talking to you while we're doing your shoes. You know what I'm saying? There's a coming out. It's just a job I do, and thank you for being part of it. But you know what I'm saying? Not like, oh, you can't talk to me. I make shoes. You know?
Yeah. I don't think. Yeah, I don't think that's a smart way to go about it. You know, just being like, "Oh, I'm too good for this." And
No, but I'm saying, but by you doing it a small way too, it's gonna be good. So you have a band already together?
yeah, I have a band, but the guitar player is having a baby in the electric guitar player. My lead guitar player is having a baby. His wife's having a baby in September, so it's like right when we're gonna go on tour, and I was like, so I might have to find another guitar player. But we're talking to a couple already, and you know, I'll keep Thomas's space for when he's done with daddy
Right.
duty for a couple months and he wants to get back on the road.
So I guess so the tour. So I'm sorry, actually, the 26th Grand Ole Opry.
This weekend, yep, Grand
Yep.
Ole
Yeah.
Opry.
Actually, yeah. Well, coming up.
Yeah, I can't
How'd
wait.
that come about? That's a pretty big yeehaw, I guess.
Dude, yeah, so random. I had no idea that it was even on the cards. And then, you know, I was playing a show in Nashville, and there's a country singer out here called Dustin Lynch, who's
Mhm.
he's been really successful, had a bunch of radio number ones, and he comes up on a screen behind the stage. And so I was super confused at first, and he was like, "Hey man, you know, I want to invite you to come and do your Opry debut. You know, it's going to be a great night." And he's a member at the Opry, and it was just out of the blue. And I guess, you know, the Opry seems to be kind of the rite of passage,
Yeah.
the mecca of country music. So I'm just super excited. It's like counting down to Christmas. You know, I'm like, all right, three sleeps to go, and I'm only playing a couple songs. Usually on a night at the Opry, people play three max anyway. You know, even the when the big guys go and play, they play two or three
Yeah.
songs. Um, so yeah, I can't wait, man. I cannot wait.
That is really good. I mean, congratulations. It seems like it's a pretty big thing. Even me who's not into all the inner workings there, I know that's a big thing. You
Right,
know?
yeah. Even I mean, people from Scotland know
Yeah.
what Grand Ole Opry is. They
I
don't,
love it.
you know, they don't know what the Nissan Stadium is, or they don't know what I don't know.
Right.
They don't know what Broadway is. You know, Broadway, the main street, until they
Mhm.
come and they see it. But everybody knows what the Grand Ole Opry is. So that's yeah, dude. I
Is
can't.
there?
There's no word to describe it. I'm raring to go. You know.
I think. I mean, is there any interest with any other musicians where you'd be a good opening act for, like more of a national or a third on the bill, or you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, so we're actually talking to one at the moment, but I don't know if it's going to work out.
Yeah.
We gotta see if we can even do it in terms of like the weekends that we have
Yeah.
free. Um, but yeah, I think that's a good way to go about it. You know, it just has to work out kind of financially and
Yeah.
logistically and all that kind of stuff, because you know we're traveling with a full band. So you know, some opportunities have come along and they're like, you know, do you want to come and do just like an acoustic set for 30 minutes, and you know you got to
Mhm.
fly all weekend, and it's, you know, $100 for the night, and I'm like, you know,
It depends. I mean, there's gonna be some though. I mean, like a lot of bands are like, I know bands will come over and be like in a tour, all different genres, and they'll be like, usually they'll be like, I lose money coming over, but I want to reach out to my fans,
yeah,
or it's a
yeah,
break even point because this is such an exposure point. When I come back next year, I'll be, you know what I'm saying? But to get to this point, I need to take a hit. You know what I'm saying? I think you're gonna be
absolutely,
in some weird spots like that where you're like, you can't do that all the time, but there might be some beneficial things where you're like in the red or just break even, you
yeah,
know,
yeah.
for that.
That's you got to hope you can break even, because you know, especially we're not funded by a label for our tour. We're, you know, it's an
Yeah.
independent tour. It's self-funded. So I'm like, I gotta get some merch on the road and sell some merch, and you know, sell as many tickets as we can. So yeah,
Yeah.
it's a challenge, but that's what it's all about, man. You know, you got the alternative is staying at home and never taking the risk. So
Well, yeah, you're not going to make it because the other alternative is being on Instagram and just playing guitar and not selling out anything like the people think
exactly.
they're going to do by not playing out. Where can people go to follow all your information and to like get your merch and do your tours and as the
So
machine builds up?
So I bet in 2 weeks we'll have the tour dates up. There will be a website. There's not right now. So what I would say is follow Instagram, just, you know,
Okay.
Callum Kerr
Yeah,
one.
I did look and I was like, oh, there really isn't anything here. I don't know where to go with this. Yeah.
But you know, once those dates are up, everything will go live. There will be tour dates, merch, you know, behind the scenes videos, all that kind of stuff. So that's, I bet probably by the beginning to mid of August we'll have some dates and
Some
some.
stuff together and some dates and stuff.
Yeah, we've
Cool.
already got the merch, so it's just finalizing the dates and signing all the agreements, and then we'll be off to the races, baby.
Nice. So when you play out, so I usually some bands do like an abbreviated set, or if they're headline, they have two sets they usually have, and they'll rotate songs. For
Yeah,
you, are you like, is it going to be a lot of the roots under me, so people are familiar with a lot of songs, and you have some other extras if it's a long night that you do like either. I know you had
yeah,
some other singles like Tequila Therapy, and you had other singles earlier. Like, how are
yeah.
you going to find that balance?
I'll definitely play some of the earlier records that you know brought the fans on in the first place, and then absolutely we'll play a lot of stuff from the EP, and then who knows, we might throw in some songs that aren't out yet, just to see how they go down with the crowd, you know.
Well, make sure you're ready for it because they'll be out of the internet before you even put your guitar down.
Yeah, yeah.
You know,
I
they
hope so.
will. You know, so that that's it. Yeah, and you gotta do the hits because they will chase you out of town like a Shrek with the flames if you don't do the hits. You know,
Oh
they're
yeah,
there for those songs. You know,
100%, man. And I've only been doing it for a couple of years, so I'm not bored of my own songs yet. I'm sure, you
not
know,
yet.
when I'm 60 years old. But I mean, I don't know. I still kind of disagree with that. People are paying to hear the songs that they love, and
I know a lot of people still love it. They'll be like literally lifetime. You know, they're in their 70s. They're like, I still love doing songs. You get
Rolling
out there. I mean,
Stone.
it feels like that part, but once you get the energy, the connection, the audience, you kind of not just about the song anymore.
Absolutely.
It's a whole
Yeah,
moment.
I
You
agree.
know,
I agree. And you know, that's, I think, when you're putting out songs that you enjoy making, then it's, I don't know.
that's
We'll
it.
see. We'll see. Once well,
All
I'll
right.
talk to you in 10 years time, and I'll let you know if it's
Right. Well, I'd
still.
like to have you back again when you're in the next cycle of music. This has been fun.
That'd
You
be
know, and I
great,
want
man.
people.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can catch up. I can figure out. I'll let you know what the numbers we're at and how it goes. I like to see how your first tour goes. You know,
Yeah,
a
that
bigger
sounds
tour.
great. Hell yeah.
All right, man. People check them out, and the links will be underneath. And I want to
Nice.
thank you, man, for being on the show. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for having me. It's a
No
pleasure.
problem. All right, I'll pause it. There you go.